Welcome to Limitless and Unfiltered. I'm Maria DeCarmo.
And I'm Jenny Cramer. And this is a space where we get real, raw, and unfiltered about life, business, and everything in between.
Because let's be honest, navigating ambition, relationships, and personal growth isn't always easy, but it is worth it.
Here we challenge the norms, break through limits, and have the conversation no one else is having. Without the fluff, without the filters.
So, if you're ready to step into your power, own your story, and build a life that's truly yours,
Then you're in the right place. Let's dive in because together we are limitless and unfiltered.
okay, everyone, so thank you for joining us on our podcast adventure. This is definitely something new for both Jenny and I, and we are so excited to have you here. It's been in the works for a couple months now, I would say, right, Jenny?
That is right.
Right. And we finally said, you know what, that's it. Let's just do it. Let's just start something new, have fun with it, and bring you along our journey. So here we are.
Yes, and you guys are all probably wondering how Maria and I know each other. Well, we go way back, like what, 2008?
Yeah, long time ago.
Dental hygiene school.
That's it. That's it. Dental hygiene school. Super exciting. That's it. No, I'll get into that story actually. The way that I met Jenny before, I actually didn't know her before dental hygiene school because I went right from high school to dental hygiene school. And I remember being so like eager to start and excited about what we were going to do and also nervous. So I'm chronically late to everything. Let's just start that, okay? And let's normalize being late to everything. Chronically late, like it's a thing for me. But that day, first day of school, I said, I really need to get there early because I don't know anybody. I didn't know anybody that was going to be in the program. And I remember arriving half an hour early thinking, no one's going to be here 30 minutes before class starts. I remember opening the door and all I could see was like this slick back bun, like perfect bun. Perfect bun. And I was like, oh my God, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, there's someone who beat me here. So I was like, you know what?
That's
Fuck
me.
it. Yeah, I was like, fuck it. Let's just go up to this girl and introduce myself. So I did. I walked up and I remember tapping her on the shoulder and I said, hi, my name's Maria. And then she said,
Hi, I'm Jenny.
and essentially that's how we met. So Jenny, let me point this out. Jenny was sitting front row center of the entire class, like the first table.
You're
First
making me
table.
sound like a brown noser, Maria.
Well, I mean, I sat right beside you because I was like, all right, I guess this is where we're sitting. So, absolute nerd. We clearly had the same vision, be there early, get the correct spot where we're going to be able to absorb things, going to be able to learn things, and that'll lead us into our journey afterwards. But that's essentially how I met Jenny, and ever since, that that moment in the morning, we became partners for pretty much every single project that we had to do together. Sometimes actually the teachers forced us to not have each
Separate.
other. Yeah.
Like,
I
how
hated it.
dare you?
I know, rude. I was like, why? Like, this is my girl.
I do not miss any of it.
Absolutely not. Negative 10. Negative 10 to that. So yeah, that's how we met. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else on there, Jenny.
Yeah, no, it was just there was a lot of like heartache being in that program, but
Yes.
we had some pretty damn good times, like that Halloween party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep, we had some good
Oh
times.
yes. Yes,
But
we did.
yeah, no, definitely a memory.
Amazing. So people have already heard about me and how we met. So let's go right into it because honestly, guys, this is the first episode is going to be you getting to know us. Some of the things that we're going to talk about will obviously expand in the rest of our podcast adventure. But just this episode will be diving in a little bit deeper on who Jenny is, who Maria is, and the things that like truly make us ourselves, what lights us on fire, what sets our soul on fire, and just bringing you kind of like a little bit and pieces of us. So, with that being said, Jenny, like what makes you you? I want you to tell the people what makes Jenny Jenny.
So, what makes me me? Well, I am definitely a highly ambitious individual. Have no idea where I got it from. My grandmother always used to say that I was too ambitious. I just love striving for the sky. I've been in dentistry since 2006, I would say. I started off as a dental assistant and then decided I want to do a little bit more. and decided to go back to dental hygiene school, and then worked for a great dentist for a while and decided, I want to do a little bit more. So I decided to become an entrepreneur and open up my own dental practice. This all occurred in 2016. So the office has been open for almost 9 years.
Amazing.
In the midst of all of that, I decided to open up a second office and ran that for 2 years, and then decided to sell it because I had an opportunity to, which was a great business venture for myself. And recently, I just sold my original office and became a new mom, and now I've just decided, I'm like, I've got a different full-time job.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, yes. Do you ever? Yeah.
So I come from a single mother. It's only ever been my mom and I. I was born in Long Island, New York. And then, yeah, when I was one, my mom and I came to Canada and have been here ever since.
So your mom lives in St. Kitts right now, no?
Well, my mom lived in St. Kitts. My mom was like born and raised in St. Kitts, a small island
Okay.
in the Caribbean. My dad is from Long Island, New York. But unfortunately, I never met my dad. He actually left when I was 1 years old.
Hmm.
Yes, so it's only ever been my mom and I. It's all I know, and I truly do love it. I can't even imagine, I couldn't even imagine my life any other way. That being said, I was super close to my grandparents, so my grandfather was definitely my father figure growing up. So I had that great structure in my life, which is a blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
I met my husband at my very first party that I went to in grade 9 in high school.
What?
Yes. So if someone said to me that night that I would be marrying him, in 20 years that I would be marrying Anthony Duarte, I would have laughed in their face. It was like, that's
Crazy.
really freaking comical, right? But yeah, it's the craziest thing. I married this guy that I met at my first high school party.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Did you
and
guys ever date during high school
never,
or?
I would never have touched him with a 10-foot pole.
That's so weird. He's such a good looking man.
He's very handsome. But like, you know what it is when you like have guy friends back in
Yeah.
high school? Like, you're just friends, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I couldn't
Friend
even,
zoned
I
him.
couldn't even, like, he was always handsome, cute, great guy. But I
Yeah.
was like, I just never thought that I would end up with Anthony Duarte.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's quite funny. But he's amazing. Best husband, great puppy dad, great
Oh,
new dad to our little baby boy that we just had. He's almost 5 months now.
oh,
Um,
baby.
yeah, he's such a great guy, and let me tell you, he's got the patience of a saint.
Oh,
So,
good,
yes,
good.
he's a good man.
Oh, that's good. For me,
Yes,
what makes me me? My goodness. A lot.
I was gonna say you probably have a lot of good stuff in there, Maria.
A lot. A lot makes me me. I think we'll get into, bits and pieces of us as we move along our podcast, but I think if I had to describe to someone like who I am, if they don't know, what you see is what you get with me. And sometimes that can be taken a little bit like, oh, not likable in a sense, but I promise you the more we talk, the better. In the essence, it's I'm a good damn friend. I'll say that. I'm a good friend. I'm a good mom. I'm a good wife. And it took a long time for me to actually say those words. Because even though I knew it, there was always a part of me that's like, am I really? Like, is there something that I could be doing more? And I think all of that comes from maybe firstborn energy
Hmm.
where you're always striving to do more. And I mean, you and I are very very alike in that way. We're super go-getter. we're never okay with what we're doing right now. And some people may see that as a flaw, but I see it as a superpower. I see it as never settling for where you are right now when you know that you could level up another aspect of your life, whatever that may be. And that is essentially at my core who I am. I'm never like satisfied 100% with what I'm doing because I know that there's something that I could be doing better. That even if I'm 1% better tomorrow, that is, the essence of who I am as a person. Now, I was born in Venezuela, so I'm Latina background. My dad is full Portuguese, like both his mom and dad are full Portuguese, and they're now back in Portugal. So we definitely love going back. Came to Canada when I was 5 years old. I actually turned 5 here in Canada, and kept the Spanish language all throughout growing up. And that was something that for my parents was so important. I grew up in the entrepreneurial background. So my dad has always been an entrepreneur, my mom as well. And I think that is what kind of fed that entrepreneurial spirit my whole life growing up, and led me to where I am right now. I went from high school to dental hygiene school. I didn't take any like months off, any breaks off, literally jumped right in. And I started to work for a dentist. But similar to you, I always felt like what I'm missing something. I love what I do, but I always knew I wanted something more. And so an opportunity came about to become an independent dental hygienist and work independently. So work for myself. And the office is not mine. However, I own my clientele and like just all the things business related. And so I jumped right on it. And my old boss didn't like it at all. And so,
Mm.
there was some friction there. There was some tension, but ultimately the discomfort led me to then say, you know what? Maybe I'm not technically ready for it, air quotes, ready for it, but I'm just going to dive in because if I don't do this, then I'm going to regret like if not going after it. So I
For
became an
sure.
independent. Yeah, I believe that. I think you need to take messy action in everything that you do. You're never going to know whether you succeed in something unless you just got to do the damn thing, you know?
You gotta jump into the deep end and just learn how
You
to swim.
do. And people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to try or I'm just going to give it 3 months or I'm just going to I don't know, I'm dip my toes no, Maria, just head first. Let's go."
And you cannot put a number to it. It's not
No, you
2 months,
can't.
3 months, 4 months. You
No.
just do it.
That's it. That's it. You literally just do it. So I did, and I ventured off independently, and it was the best thing that I could have done for myself. Being an entrepreneur has its ups and downs because it gives you some sort of flexibility and flexibility with your schedule. You make your schedule. But what people don't understand is that if you don't fill your schedule, you're also not getting paid. So there's no sick pay days, there's no maternity leave, there's no all of the benefits that you get as an employee, you lose when you become an entrepreneur, but there are so many other pros to that, but you have to have the mindset to do that. And I knew I did growing up in the entrepreneurial life that my dad showed us. So I did. I went right in, loved it, have been independent for the last, oh God, I'm gonna say like 12 years, and it's been a ride. And there's other things coming there, and we'll eventually share that. But it's been an amazing ride there. I absolutely love what I do. I got married in 2018 with my husband, which is a funny story because I've known him since I was 5.
I remember the first time I met him at a Rotary Club. Remember when we were part of the Rotary
Yes.
Club of Oakville West?
Yes.
Um, yeah, I forgot about that for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That was
remember him coming to one of the functions and meeting him.
Yeah, he was my boyfriend at the time. We weren't
That's
even
right.
married. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we go way back. That's a different story. We'll touch that another day. But yeah, I married him in 2018 in Guatemala, and then in 2020 I became a mom to my daughter, so that was my first baby. And that changed my whole mindset as well, and I definitely became a person that was like, okay, well, now I have a tiny human that needs me, and I don't want to miss out on things because I did with her. I went back to work early with her. I missed her first steps. I missed her crawling. I missed a lot of things because of work. And that's where, when I got pregnant with my second shortly after, surprise, surprise, that's where I decided, whoa, like, I know that income is important and that, feeling independent is important, but these humans depend on me for everything, right? Your babies depend on you for everything. And that's where I struggled because I did separating my entrepreneur life and my mom life and realizing at the time I thought I had to pick one over the other. And so
Yeah.
I did take quite some time with my son to, figure out all of motherhood and go through all the things, all the feelings. And then that's when I realized through his experience, through his birth, that you can be both. And so that is part of also what makes me me, is that I'm a huge advocate for mothers and women feeling like you have to separate the two. You do not have to separate the two. Like, we can coexist in a time where motherhood and entrepreneurship, they can coexist in the same world, and they should.
And it's so, absolutely, but it's just so hard to
Yes.
mentally be able to see that they can come together like a puzzle piece. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're in it, freshly in it,
Whew.
you can't see clearly.
Nope. That's also another episode, because that will be all another oh, motherhood stuff. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I think for both Jenny and I think I can speak for the both of us. There's a lot that makes us us, and you'll get to kind of get to know us through our journey. But that's little snippets of what makes us us. And so, segueing into that, because you and I have talked about this many times, but like, what's one thing that people assume about you, Jenny, that isn't actually true?
I would say the one thing that people assume is that I look like a bitch. Like I have a resting bitch face, which I don't really think I do. Or maybe it's like an intimidation thing. I'm
Hmm.
not sure what it is. But yeah, I would say just being intimidated by me, which is really weird because I'm like 5 foot nothing. And for me, but I would say that's what people may think when they first meet me, but then once they get to know me, they realize that I'm a pretty cool chick and that I'm one person who just loves to see and to help others succeed. Like I love hanging out with super successful people or really meshing with people who want to be successful and want to grow. I thrive in that environment, and like for me, I'm all about doing better for yourself in every way possible.
I love that. And I think you and I are similar there as well, because that's one of the biggest things that people assume about me, is that I'm unapproachable. I've been told so many times after people get to know me and talk to me, and they realize that I'm actually crazier in person and like louder in person, that they're like, "Oh, I thought, you're so nice. Like, I never would have thought." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, I never would. Didn't approach you earlier, like years before, because I thought you were so rude, so mean. Your face gives off like, yeah, bitch vibes," which
Like an
is,
angry bird.
yeah, yeah, which I'm like, oh my God, like totally not, definitely not. And it's funny because there was a time in our friendship where, you mentioned it, we were part of the Rotary Club, so Rotary Club Oakville West, and for those of you who don't know, that's essentially a group of people, group of entrepreneurs, group of professionals that get together to do good for the world. And it is a global organization, and it is phenomenal. And Jenny brought me into that. And it was funny when she told me, like, really should come to this meeting, because she had no idea that I had a huge connection with Rotary through my maternal grandfather, who was a Rotarian his entire life. And so you and I went on a Rotary journey for a few years, and it was phenomenal.
No, it was great. And same with me. Like my grandfather family was from like a small island in the Caribbean called St. Kitts, and he was a founding member of the Rotary Club in St. Kitts, and that's how I discovered the Rotary Club. And I remember when he was alive, I did bring him to a couple meetings because he just loved that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like he just loved to be with guys and talk business and just do good. Do
I love it.
good.
I love it. Same. And you do truly have to be a special. This is going to sound like I'm tooting my own horn here, but you do have to have a special type of heart to work with the Rotary Club. It's volunteers, entrepreneurs, like just a lot of people that really have a good heart in terms of helping others around them. And I will 100% always support the Rotary Club. I love everything about them and what they stand for. And I think it speaks volumes for anybody who is a Rotarian or knows about it. So, there's tap on my own back, I guess.
That's so funny. I remember, I don't know if you ever did it. I did do it one year when I was a member.
Mhm.
It's called Dreams Takes Flight. So,
Oh, I didn't because I was working.
oh, yeah, so I got to do that, which was incredible. And it was when we took four underprivileged children to Disney for a day,
Yeah,
24 hours. It
that's
was
crazy.
wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was
Oh,
incredible.
that's amazing. So in terms of Rotary, we were talking about, Rotary and all the things that we love about that. And I guess that's, a moment of our life that changed for us, right? Because I think that that was one of our defining moments where we saw the world in a different light, and the power that we can hold by being powerful people. And I think people misunderstand entrepreneurship and professionalism and all of the things as just a title, when in reality, we need to realize that when you do have that quote unquote power, you can do so many good things in the world. And so, that was a defining moment for both of us being part of the Rotary Club. But what is another defining moment for you, Jen, that like completely changed your life?
I would say a defining moment probably was just my childhood. Being brought up by like a single mom, seeing the hardships that she had to go through, how strong she managed to continue to be, and just, the life lessons that she taught to me and, empowered me. She never ever put down any of my ambitions and my goals. She was always extremely, positive. And she always used to say, if there's one thing that no one can ever take away from you, that's your education. So I would say that is probably a pretty defining moment in my life that changed me.
I love that because you carried that with you. You literally lived that
Always.
every day.
So Maria, in this sense, what would be a defining moment in your life that completely changed you?
Yeah, so I think that I have a ton of pivotal moments of my life, those defining moments that were like, okay, now you're going to see life in a different way. And whether I wanted to or not, I had a bunch of those. The first one that I can remember that really rocked my world and changed my whole perspective was when, at the age of 21, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening blood clot. And I won't get into like the super details of that, but there was a lot of misdiagnosis. There was a lot of, really advocating for my health at the time because I was misdiagnosed, but deep down inside, also having the dental hygiene background where we learn a lot of general anatomy, actually a lot of it. So I knew something was wrong and I had to be my biggest advocate. And if it weren't for my own advocacy, I probably would have died at the age of 21 because when it was discovered, it was because I had fought so hard at the hospital to have a second opinion and to have that all looked at, right? And looking back on it, like that was a long time ago, but like looking back on it, were there things that could have been prevented? 100%, right? And so I think that defining moment, that pivotal moment for me, opened the door to become such a big advocate for my patients and love my job even more. And after that, like I became pretty hardcore with advocating for my patients. There were certain times that they would come in with like different medications. Oh, my doctor put me on different medications. We're just doing a medical history update. And I would say, okay, well, did you know that this medication contradicts this one? And they had no idea. Doctors kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying all doctors are bad, but it truly shed a light on, where those gaps are in our system where if you don't know, like things could go really bad, right? And there's been many occasions where I've been able to help a lot of patients in that aspect. And so I think that all comes back from that moment in my life where my whole world changed. Like at 21, you're not thinking, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die." Right? At
No.
21, you're living life, right? I was at my best physical physique at the time. I was in my best health, like absolutely thriving. Had a job that paid me much more than anybody that was my age at the time was earning. And so to me, I was just like in my prime. And when I got that diagnosis, it was my whole world came shattering. Like my everything, my foundation came crumbling. That was my first taste of mental health issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a lot. It was very heavy. And obviously, I'm a very big believer in like everything happens for us and not to us. And that kind of all started at the age of 21 when that happened, because I did struggle with realizing like, why is this happening to me? That was what my mind was, right? I had a lot of tests, I had a lot of medication. My body was changing rapidly because of the medication. There was a lot that happened at that time where I was like, this is not what somebody at 21 should be dealing with. But that was definitely for me. My first like road was great, life was great, and then it was like, okay, now my life is gonna split into one, two, three, four different options. Pick. And that's the first time also that I understood that you are not a result of the things that happen to you. You are a result of the choices that you make. And so at 21, my first, I said, crossroads in life, I said, okay, do I go down like woo, woe is me, like the life is out to get me, everybody hates me, and I'm never going to amount to anything because now I have this health issue? Or am I going to then turn my life and say, okay, now I realize that life is very short, that life needs to be lived, and how can I do this in the healthiest way, in the most positive way, and succeed, go past it, go through it, right? And it's only through that storm that I realized, at first, what kind of power and potential I had.
I feel like there's always that one defining moment in people's lives where they're like, fuck it, life's too short,
That's
gotta
it.
live it. You know what I mean? Like, it
That's
is
it.
so true. And it's like, it is so precious. And we need to love the people that love us and just be good to those who are good to us and even
Hmm.
to those who aren't. And
Which is
let things
hard,
go. It's so hard, but you know what? Life is so short.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And so in that, we have obviously navigated through a lot of things, you and I. Like, I'm 35 and you're, how old are you?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be 39 this year.
You do not look 39. For
Oh
anybody who's not watching, Jenny is at her prime. She looks phenomenal. But yeah, so the reason I'm saying that is obviously my pivotal moment at 21. Now I'm 35. A lot of things have happened. A lot of success has happened for you as well. And so I want to ask you, what is your biggest unfiltered truth about success? It could be success in life. It could be success in, just being a human, success as a mom. But what is your biggest, like, unfiltered, let me just give this to you?
There's this one quote that it becomes very lonely at the top. And that's exactly what success is. It takes a lot to get there, but when you do get there, you kind of realize who really has your back, who truly cares about you, supports you. You see people's true colors.
Hmm.
And people don't really realize how hard one has to work to get to where they are. People just,
Preach.
yeah, people just look at it as, oh, look at what you got, look what you drive, look at the house you live in.
How
And it
lucky.
how lucky, right? And it's not about luck. It's about hard work and dedication and sleepless nights and 15-hour work days and returning emails at like 1 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
going in on a Sunday, like all of these things add up. And I would say, yeah, sometimes it can be lonely at the top.
Oh yeah, that's definitely unfiltered for sure. We don't sugarcoat things here.
Not at all.
Not at
So,
all.
but anyways, in your case, what would be the biggest unfiltered truth about success or life?
Um, I think it echoes what you said, a lot of what you said. You do have to outwork everyone. I think that goes for any type of career that you choose or any type of job that you're in. If you want to, be noticed or earn more or, anything, you have to outwork the person next to you. You do. But in that, I also want to say that success is not just about grinding, right? It's about having unshakable belief in yourself,
Yeah.
right? Your ability to adapt, your ability to pivot, your willingness to keep going, even when it gets super messy, even when it gets uncertain, and mostly when it gets uncomfortable. Because a lot of people, like you were saying, that see the flashy, see the things at the top or the success, they don't see all of the uncomfortable things that we pass through, right? They don't see the tough nights. They don't see the working when you're sick. They don't want to recognize that it takes a lot a lot of work behind the
Yeah.
scenes, right? Because they people tend to just romanticize success like it's one linear path, right? And I think that is a lot of the problem with social media is that obviously it's a highlight reel, and we're getting more into the era of people showing the real side of social media. I definitely do that on mine, but it's still very much like romanticizing that. That's what people see is the success. It's the cars, it's the trips, it's the bling, it's the house, it's the whatever the hell it is. It's
Yep.
being romanticized without people actually truly understanding that the truth is that it's all chaotic.
Or it's not even real.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's part of it. That's part of the problem, right? And so my that's part of the bigger problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like one of the biggest things that I would tell people is that it's success isn't necessarily about who works the hardest. It's about who refuses to quit, right?
100%.
Because there will be so much testing of your perseverance during your success journey. People don't get to the top by coasting things. They really don't. They get to the top by literally refusing to quit, even if it's raining and you're in a ditch full of mud with no shoes and no socks. Like those are the people who succeed. So
100%.
get rid of the glamorizing of the success. Once you get to the top, it's great. You, of course, you enjoy all of that. Who doesn't enjoy the trips, the vacations, the all of it? Who doesn't? And if you say you don't, that you're a fucking liar.
Oh, but I'm going to say I don't.
Yo, come on, that's a lie.
No,
Jen, you're gonna
it's
tell me you
so
don't like
true. No, no,
vacation?
no. So, Maria, it is so true. Whenever I go on vacation, I am so stressed about like I would always be so stressed about the office, checking the emails. My husband would be like, "You need to fucking put your phone away."
That's because you're a workaholic.
I am
That's
a
it.
workaholic. When
Yeah.
people ask me, "What's your hobby?" I'm like, "Work."
Yeah, and
Uh,
well, I think that with you, you've actually come to a point where you're realizing that that's
yes,
not all it is to life, right?
you got
You
it.
have to set your boundaries. You have to set your boundaries, which you weren't doing, because if you were doing, then you would enjoy your vacations, right?
100%. Yes.
It is, right? So give yourself permission to evolve, essentially, right? And that's okay. Like, you made it and now you're pivoting and like it is what it is. Okay, Jenny, let's pivot a little bit. So, what did you actually want to be when you grew up, like as a child? And like how does that compare to where you are right now?
So weirdly enough, I wanted to be an actress.
Nice.
Like, I don't even know. I definitely would not have been a good one, because I don't like talking in front of more than 5 people.
Well, get ready.
I know, right? Yeah, I wanted to be an actress. How funny is that? And then decided to get into dentistry. I just had this weird obsession for teeth. Like even as a kid, like I would, if a tooth was wiggly, I would pull it out. Yeah, I would tie floss to it and then tie the other end of the floss to the front door, and I would slam
Stop it.
the front door shut and the tooth would come ripping out. um, so I definitely got into the right profession because I have like
Definitely.
a really deep passion for teeth.
It's amazing. I can't believe you would do that. Most kids cry when you try and do
Yeah,
that.
no, I'm not scared at all.
That
Not
is
scared at all.
hilarious. I also had a massive obsession for teeth. I think I always knew I was going to be in the dental field. I wasn't sure where exactly I was going to go. Like for the longest time, like I want to be a dentist. I want to be a dentist. And in hindsight, I could have, but I'm actually glad that I didn't, and I'm glad that I became a dental hygienist because it did offer different opportunities. And this is no shade to dentists at all. I have friends that are dentists, and they're phenomenal. But I definitely love where my path took me into dental hygiene. Um, as a child, though, I think there was parts of me that wanted to be a teacher, and I
Hmm.
think that comes from opposite of you. I love talking to people.
You're a good talker, Maria.
Oh, I thank you. Yeah, I know I love talking to people, but I also love that teaching aspect. And I dabbled a little bit into that by teaching dance when I was in my teens, but that's as far as my teaching career teaching career went. But no, I was also very obsessed with teeth, and I think that I aligned very well with the career path that I chose.
What is one lesson that you learned the hard way?
About anything? Yeah, about anything,
I would
right?
say like business, relationships, motherhood,
Okay.
anything like that.
Okay. I think one of the hardest lessons that I learned the hard way, even though I am very grateful that it happened, is that your friends want the version of you that benefits them the most. And I think you can replace friends with anything. You can replace friends with family, you can replace friends with your partner, your spouse, all of that, which actually those are the hardest to do that with. But that is definitely the hardest lesson that I've had. I think the last 2 years for me have been transformational in terms of who's in my circle and who I allow into my circle. And that came with a lot of pain, right? Because it is hard to realize that sometimes the biggest anchors holding you down are those people around you that got uncomfortable with your growth because they stopped growing, which is a hard pill for them to swallow. And it's a hard pill for you to understand that that's kind of what happens to the people that leave your life. Because it's painful.
Oh,
There's no
yeah.
other way to put that. It's painful, and you can outgrow people, and it's okay because you're allowed to continue to grow yourself. And if people can't understand that, then they no longer fit that your lifestyle. They no longer fit your circle, right? Because truthfully, let's talk about it. A business builder will never criticize or judge you for wanting to start a business, whatever that business may be. An
Right.
athlete will never judge you for going to the gym or starting, your fitness journey at all, right? You're a successful person, any successful person is never going to judge you for going for a goal, like having a goal. But the people who have the most to say to you and are negative are the people who are doing absolutely fuck all. Like it really is what it is. And why? It's because people project their insecurities onto you. So that has been the hardest lesson for me to have learned specifically in the last I'd say 2.5 years is that. And I'll say that sentence again. Your friends want the version of you that benefits them the most. So I think that's the time where you have to step into your power, set up those boundaries, and realize that you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
Totally. And like I would say for you, Maria, like you have a strong personality. You're a good person. You are super vocal with your beliefs, your morals, all of that. And sometimes people are just intimidated by it, right? And they they try to step all over it because they can't match it.
Ooh. It's not a mic, but a pen drop.
Just saying.
Oh,
Just
Jenny,
saying.
yeah. Yeah. Is that something that you resonate with, or like what's like a lesson that you've learned the hard way too?
I'm just done with pussyfooting around people. That's definitely something my mom would say.
I love
Um,
that.
I always wanted people to like me. I never wanted to disappoint anybody. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I would put like my happiness before anybody else, and now I just don't give a fuck. If I'm just straight to the point,
Yep.
you know what, you don't like me, no problem. I do not care. I'm not going to
Excellent.
sit here and try to make you like me. I'm not going to feel bad about it. Up and onward. I always say, if you don't like me, see, the door is over there. You can exit the way you entered.
Amazing. But literally, I think we should all learn that. And not the hard way. Learn that now before it gets hard.
Yeah, just, yeah,
It's like,
so done.
fuck no. Yeah. You're like, Next.
Next. No,
See you
like,
later."
and And honestly, as you get older, your circle becomes smaller and your circle becomes your family, like
That's it.
literally your family. Um, and that family includes like your husband, your child, your parents, your in-laws. Like it's it's
It's
that. It's that's
exclusive. It's exclusive, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that goes actually hand in hand with what I have a question for you next, which is what's something you refuse to apologize for? And it seems like you're on track to tell
Oh,
me exactly that.
yeah, I refuse to apologize for just being me.
I love that.
And just being true to who I am and not allowing people to walk all over me. Being true to myself. And that's how I feel like everybody should be true to themselves.
1000%.
And how
1000.
about you? What would be something that you would refuse to apologize for in this day and age?
Yeah, I agree with you. But something that I definitely refuse to apologize for is doing what is intuitively best for my children, right?
Yes,
Setting
totally.
hard boundaries, regardless of who it's with. And if you're a mom listening to this and you're struggling with that, because I was in that boat for my first pregnancy and similar situation, tiptoeing around like, things that made me uncomfortable with my kids and things that like I didn't want other people to be doing or saying to my children. And for the longest time, I never really said much, and that would kill me because it would make me cry at night. And the person who got to hear my venting was my husband until I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, these are my kids. I don't care who you are. If you don't respect my boundary, see you later. Like, see you later. Because at the end of the day, we are trying to either break generational cycles that we've lived through, and that's not to say that we had bad parenting, because I definitely am not saying that. I had great parents. But we are also in a day and age where we have a lot of information at our hands and we are raising our children differently. And if people don't like it, I've had friends that don't like, some of the things that I do with my kids and have done with my kids. I don't care. I don't care. It's something I will never apologize for, because at the end of the day, those children were housed in my body, came out of my body. They are literally my heart walking on earth. So I will go to the ends of the earth to protect them and their future and the way that they feel and grow up and the way that they think. And if that means that you're no longer going to serve a purpose in their life, I will see you out with a smile. Like,
That's so crazy. And so has this been like an actual personal?
yeah, there have
Oh my
been,
gosh.
and these people aren't like out of my life. And I don't want to upset anybody, but this is also the Limitless and Unfiltered podcast. So if you're here, welcome and get ready to get uncomfy. Um, yeah, there's been like comments made. I mean, my kids are 5 and 3.5, right? So when they were little, I, for the longest time, did not give my kids any artificial sugar. I was head on, like reading all of the labels, making sure that everything that was put into their body, primarily because I suffered a blood clot at 21 and understand the preciousness of life, that I'm like, if I can avoid my children damaging things inside of their body through their mouth, I'm gonna do it. So for the longest time, I did not allow any processed sugar, like even ice creams or, popsicles or anything. And there would be summers where, people would just, well, just one. It's okay. Oh, poor kids. They can just have just one, maybe just one lick. But fuck no. Like, respect the fact that I'm telling you my kids don't eat sugar. I'm not telling you don't give your kids sugar. I'm just saying for mine, they don't do it. Right? Like, I was making all this stuff. And this is no shade to like people who give sugar to their kids at all. Just a personal thing.
Of
Right?
course,
Like, if
you're entitled
another
to it.
yeah, if another mom said to me, well, I don't know if I can give ice cream to my kid since he was, I don't know, 10 months, I'd be like, okay, good for you. Great. Like, there's no hard feelings there. But why do people feel the need to make you feel bad for a decision that you're making on your children when it's not their kid? Like, I'm just like, hello, no.
Yeah.
Right? There's been stuff like that. There's also, been stuff that I've changed for my children's upbringing that, like, I have ventured into gentle parenting. And I think this is going to be another podcast episode, because there is a very big difference between gentle parenting and permissive parenting. And I think those lines are crossed in between, where people think that gentle parenting is a mom and dad that are like, okay, Johnny, have, I don't fucking know, chocolate for breakfast. That's not it.
Right.
Right? Like,
No.
no, gentle parenting is just understanding that you have to set boundaries with your child, but before you react to your children, you have to self-regulate your own emotions, and that's so fucking hard.
For
That's so
sure.
hard. Right? So, that's definitely something that has been a trigger point for a lot of people in my life, is like, why are you gentle parenting? Like, that's so your kids are going to walk all over you, and that's not it. There's a very there are very big differences between gentle and permissive, and I'm definitely not permissive, because I'm still the head of the household and I am still the one that they need to respect, and I'm the authority.
You're
But
the
there's
boss.
ways. Yeah, I'm the boss. But there are still ways to get discipline in a child and get them to respect you without enticing fear, because that's not it. and without enticing, violence to your children. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of things that I've done a little differently, or a lot differently, that people like to comment in, and I'm like, that we're not going there. Like, we're not going there. Leave me alone with my children. I know what's best for my kids. They came out of my cooch, you know?
This is all really good information because, like, I'm very far away from all of this, having
Uh-huh.
only a 5-month-old. But yeah, no, this is definitely some good words of wisdom.
Yeah. There was even when my babies were like babies, and like Veronica was born in 2020, and like the height of the
Mm,
pandemic. And whatever your views are on that, personally, whether there was a pandemic or not, I don't I don't agree with kissing my baby anywhere near the mouth. I don't even kiss my babies on the mouth right now. That's just a personal opinion. That's just a personal thing. Don't do it. And maybe it comes from my dental hygiene background of knowing the type of bacteria that can be transferred mouth to mouth, that kissing my kid on the mouth, no, I won't do it. And so if I don't do it, please don't do it yourself, you know?
yeah, that's so weird though.
It
Like,
is weird. Like, what?
why
What?
would you kiss somebody else's baby? Like,
Yeah, well, they do.
oh,
So there's that.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So that'll be another. All of this will be another podcast. We can expand on all that. So we're gonna pivot a little. So for you, Jenny, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be? This is hard.
It's hard, but I would definitely tell myself to enjoy life and be in the moment a bit more. I look back on like certain life experiences where I wasn't fully in the moment because I was so stressed about either school or business, and I wasn't enjoying life. And I'm now at a point in my life where I really acknowledge that, and I am working on being present
Love.
um, in my day to day life. Because it is, like I've said before, life is too short. It is super precious.
Absolutely.
For yourself, what would that be? What would your younger self give advice to
Um,
Maria de Carmo?
I think what I said before, that quote that I mentioned, where everything happens for you and not to you, and that will segue into everything has a solution, because I think my younger self didn't understand that. I wanted the answer right away, and if I didn't get the answer right away or think of what the potential answer could be to whatever situation I was going through, then I would, have all of this anxiety and think that I wasn't doing enough or not good enough. For the longest time, I didn't clue any of that together. I've had to do a lot of like inner work and inner healing to realize that like it's all part of the same problem. And it's not everything has to be a solution right away. Sometimes you won't even get an answer to what's going on with you, or the experiences that you're having, until weeks down the road, until years down the road sometimes. And that's a hard thing to understand, because most of us want an answer now, right? Like if I'm going through ABC, what's DEF, right? Like what is
Yeah.
that? Right? So not everything needs to be debated, though. I think that's another thing that I would say. Like I was definitely very reactive when I was younger.
I'm still reactive. I still
I'm
need to
learning.
be, I'm learning. I am truly learning. But I always say now, like, life, you don't control life. Life controls you in
Hmm.
that sense. Like
Hmm.
you have some sort of control, but like everything happens for a reason.
That's right. That's
People
right.
come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So true. And I couldn't agree with you more. Like sometimes the best answer is no answer at all with some of these
Yeah.
circumstances. Truthfully, because not everybody deserves your energy, if I'm being honest with you, and not everything needs and or deserves an explanation or justification from you. And this is something I've struggled so hard to go through and learn, because like I said, I was very reactive, very combative before. Like I always felt like, well, I need to prove my point, and like if I was being quote unquote attacked, or something was said to me that I didn't like or didn't feel good, I always felt the need to retaliate back, to answer back, to give you my opinion. Whereas now, there have been situations where there are things that have been said to me, and there are things that I've been confronted with, and I have been able to fully self-control and not answer a damn thing because I realize it's like talking to a wall. And if I spend more time here, it's just going to deplete my own energy. And, in part, I think that's a lot of growth. I actually read a quote and I forgot to write it down, but I read a quote about that. And it's saying that when you can control your emotions in a difficult situation, that's when you know you are gaining control of your own power and your own dignity. Because when you see somebody attacking you in a certain way and they just keep going and they see that you are relaxed and not reacting, it pisses them off more.
For sure.
So,
I always say like the last word is not saying the last word.
yep. Learned that the hard way, but that's definitely something I would tell my younger self to just stop fighting with people. Stop arguing your point back. It's not necessary.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, and on that like personal growth journey, because that's definitely something that I've been working on personal growth of myself. What's one thing you're currently working on in your own personal growth journey?
I would say trying to slow down. Um,
Yes. Yes.
Definitely maneuvering through this like new way of life. After having a baby, like first of all, I was like working from home, like I would say like 5 days after I came home with the baby. Um, and then I was actually back at the office 6 weeks after. I
Girl.
know. It's a little crazy, but that being said, Maria, it definitely helped me heal.
Hmm.
Um, it helped me heal because I definitely did suffer quite a bit with the postpartum anxiety and not
Oh.
having control
Hmm.
with my life because, I went from, you know, doing what I want when I want to do it to all of a sudden being stuck at home with this little human that
Hmm.
needs me. And, you forfeit your entire life for this little person, which I love. And it's my new life, and I've accepted it. And I'm just personally, in the journey of adjusting to it, but
Of course.
it's definitely a work in progress because, you know, everything else is at a standstill now, right?
Yep.
And it's a
Yep.
crazy feeling because you go from being so ambitious and dedicated to things that you want to do when you want to do it, now it's like, nope, ain't happening.
Sit down, mom.
Exactly. Get back over here. Change my
Yeah.
diaper.
Yeah. Oh, and poop it again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. And if there's anything I can tell you is that it does get better.
That's
There are
what
different
they
stages.
say. That's what
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
say. I'm
Yeah.
patiently waiting for it because let me tell
Yeah.
you, every time I'm like, oh, we might be onto something, shit gets fucked up.
Shifts. Yeah. He's literally like, absolutely not.
Exactly. He's like,
Let me
yeah,
grind you
no.
again. Yeah. No, but it does. It gets better. There's different challenges as they grow, and there's different things. But it does get better. I definitely want you to know that for sure.
This is, I'm
Yeah.
hoping. So,
Yeah.
what's your current personal growth journey?
Um, I am really into the woo woo right now.
What the
If
heck
you
is the
know,
woo woo?
I was gonna say if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you're about to find out. So the
Woo
woo
woo.
woo, the woo woo is like, how do I best describe the woo woo? Okay, it's like for me, this is my interpretation of the woo woo. It's like hippie world mixed in with like spiritual world, and they just collide. So it's, I have a Catholic background. I'm religious in that way, but there are things in my religion that I don't agree with and that I challenge a lot. And that doesn't mean that I'm not faithful, and I consider myself a very faithful person. But I also believe that there is a difference between being faithful and being religious. And I am not on the religious side, I'm on the faithful side. So Nothing will shake my faith in, God, divine energy, whatever you want to call it. But I'm definitely not someone that's like, you need to go to church and sit at a pew to be a good Christian, Catholic, whatever you want to call yourself, right?
Right.
I also hate denominations. I think that they're labels that we put onto ourselves. For what reason? I don't know, because isn't the premise of being a faithful person to just do good unto others? Now I'm just fucking ranting, but here we go. So
Say
what
it,
I'm
sister.
yeah, well fuck, this is unfiltered, right? So what my personal growth journey has led me is to this woo-woo side because of my challenges with the religious aspect of what I grew up in. And so the woo woo is tapping into like our God given power, like our intuition, our chakras, our like reading oracle cards, like tapping into connecting to the spiritual world and to our spirit guides and really going inward and healing from the inside so that we can be better people on the outside, not physically, but like towards others, right? And I think that if we were all to tap into the woo woo, I think we would have less anxiety, to be honest with you, because it really teaches you how to tap into your own energy. And so, in that, I'm currently tapping into what's called divine feminine energy, which I never knew about because I always thought, oh, I'm so feminine. I love curling my hair and the makeup and, glitter and all the girly stuff, the heels, all of it. You name it, I love it, right? That's what I thought the feminine energy was. And in reality, there's two different energies that everybody has, feminine and masculine energy. And what I've realized through learning all of this and getting into the woo woo is that feminine, divine feminine energy is the energy of what you just said, slowing down, enjoying, right? Like really taking like breaths, like really enjoying what's going on. So, for example, when was the last time that you picked up your drink? For those of you who are just listening, I'm picking up my drink. Picked up your drink and like sat there and like felt the cup. Like, okay, this is really cold. It's got a lot of ice in it, right? Like the cup has like different like ribs on it. Okay, it's like bumpy here. It's sweating on the bottom. And then after you take a sip of whatever you're sipping, when was the last time we actually sat down and really experienced that? If it's coffee, like what did it smell like? What did it taste like? How bitter
Gotcha.
was it? Right? If it's matcha, whatever it is that we're drinking, right? When was the last time we did that? That is feminine energy because in reality, most times that we pour our coffee, we pour whatever the hell we're drinking, we're doing something else as well. We're writing on the computer, we're typing, we're answering emails, we're taking care of the kids, we're making food, we're not really enjoying. So that feminine, divine feminine energy invites us to slow down. And then the masculine energy is the go, 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 like the goal getter, like the entrepreneur, the
That's
logical brain.
me. Oh my gosh.
That's been me my whole life.
I'm exhausted. Thinking about it, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it's been me
Ugh.
my whole life. So this whole time I've been thinking like, oh, I'm so feminine. And sure, on the surface level, physically, like, yeah, I like all the feminine stuff, but my energy has been always very masculine dominant. And that is where my personal growth is taking me now is like, all right, let's figure out how to bring back that divine feminine energy and learn how to slow down, appreciate the things, and calm my nervous system essentially so that I'm not always on overdrive. And I think people need to understand you have both. Whether you're male or female, you have feminine and masculine energies, and it's how to pull from both of those energies when they're necessary and balance the two.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where my my woo-woo journey has taken me, but that's deep. We can go real deep in that.
Can't wait to talk more about that. Woo woo.
Yeah, exactly. So as we're gonna wrap up here because I know this is a little bit of a long episode, but Jenny, I have an answer for this, but I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah.
So why limitless and unfiltered? So essentially, what can our listeners expect from this podcast?
The real raw truth about life, being female, being entrepreneurs, being healthcare professionals, new moms. Yeah, like we are going to talk about the real, real. We're not going to hold back on anything. We're just
No,
going to, yeah, we're going to,
nothing at
there's
all.
no such thing as holding back on here. We're just going to
Nope.
be straight the F up.
Yep. Yeah, so I echo you on that, definitely that. And I think if you're a listener and you've gotten this far, first of all, thank you. And what can you expect from us? Well, a lot. We're going to dive into a lot of different topics on this podcast, ranging from everything Jenny just mentioned. And we're also going to we're going to make sure that every single episode, we're going to give you some tangible homework or some tangible steps that you can take to better whatever it is that we're going to be talking about. Whether that's your mindset around money, whether that is your mindset around entrepreneurship, whether that's motherhood, like anything that we have been through, that we have succeeded in and are growing through as well, we're going to bring to the table so that you can enjoy as well. Because if we can help you kind of avoid some of those, mistakes that we've made, then why wouldn't we? We're going to do that here on this podcast and be as fucking unfiltered as we possibly can and limitless. There's going to be literally no boundaries for what we're going to bring to this table. So, with that being said, you can find us in the show notes and you'll be able to, find us on our socials there and connect with us that way.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us. We are truly looking forward to all our next episodes, and we hope that you will definitely join in on them.
Amazing. Ooh, and this might come to all of my woo woo fans, but we are finishing at 111.
I
Have a good
love
night,
that.
everybody. Uh-huh. I love that. Bye, everyone.